whatever it is, man, there's some serious backstory uh, to whoever this is representing, because there's so much intimacy, so much sadness and nuance on this. Hey music friends, this is Davi Vasc. I'm a music composer for games, and I had a ton of fun listening to Genshin Impact music for the first time last week. So let's do another one this week. A lot of you guys suggested La Signora Battle Theme from, of course, Genshin Impact. I don't know anything about the context of this track, so let's see what we can figure out about it from the music alone. Let's go! Ooh. Right off the bat, sounds kind of imposing. There's a heartbeat there, I think. Amazing melody. Oh, disturbing chord there. I love... Oh, it's building up. Hold up. Before it builds up too much, I love the contrast between the very imposing low instruments. There's a combo of cello, right, on the right speaker, with a very low pitched piano. Sounds very imposing, and it's very well paced. It almost sounds like a march. It sounds intimidating. It to me, it gives me a sensation of authority, something imposing and intimidating. At the same time, the melody on top sounds kind of gentle and beautiful, maybe even feminine, but this might be me just getting a clue from the title of the song, which is La Signora, which sounds Italian to me for, you know, the miss, the lady. Listen to the melody on top that's coming up. This, so gentle. And it's interesting how the bass, remember the bass that I talked about, the cellos and the piano, they keep holding one single note. That gives me a sensation, a growing sensation of anticipation, because you keep expecting it to go somewhere and it keeps just holding this, so they're building tension. I keep expecting it to go somewhere, to change notes, and it never changes. It keeps holding. It generates an anxiety on the listener. That's a very cool trick. It's building up. The whole orchestra is joining in. Oh my god. Oh. Now the bass is moving. Amazing. Amazing harmony. God, this sounds... It sounds kind of tragic. Oh god, new part. Okay, it's interesting because, of course, I'm assuming, right, this is a boss theme, right? It sounds too epic for it not to be a boss theme. It's interesting. There's such an interesting blend of sensations. Like I said, I got the sensation of something intimidating, of some kind of authority. Also, the femininity of the gentle melody. Now that the choirs kicked in, there's a sadness to it. I feel it's still super epic, feels adventurous and somewhat heroic and that kind of stuff. That kind of boss battle stuff that we're used to. But there's some tragedy here. These chords, I'm gonna look deep into the harmony here, because I bet there's some tragic chords in here that are giving me this sad, melancholic sensation. Check this out. Happy chord. Feels so hopeful. Such a cool chord progression. A very complete chord progression. As I expected, is mostly sad chords. And it's interesting that it builds tension only towards the end. Remember I said that it sounded kind of tragic, kind of sad? The way they achieve this is that on the several first chords of the harmony, they're not building tension at all. They're just focusing on sad chords that are not very tense. So like this, for example, sad chord, not tense at all. This is what we call the home chord, is the opposite of tense. Then he goes here, again, not a very tense chord, sad chord. Then he goes to a happy chord here. This feels very hopeful. Sometimes, even in tragic songs, it's cool to put a happy chord in there, because the contrast between happy and sad can even elevate the sadness, the tragedy. And then towards the end, he starts building tension. That's when it starts to sound more evil and more disturbing, and you're reminded that you're actually, probably, I assume, fighting something dangerous, like a dangerous character, possibly evil. I don't know, because this sounds very disturbing. They use this chord towards the end of the sequence there, very disturbing. Then they end by building a ton of tension with this. Then they go into this. And the bass, remember the cello, the basses that were once very still are now moving like crazy. Now we're going to the next part. Oh, amazing. Amazing harmony. And again. Again, I told you guys. This, again, I have to assume this is a boss theme, but this part here is not menacing at all. It's not dangerous at all. This feels like it feels like they are exploring some sort of so much drama. It feels like they are exploring some sort of emotional side of this boss battle. I have to assume this is not just like a simple kind of good guy versus bad guy scenario here, because there's just too much drama, too much emotion, too much tragedy. If it was just like a classic evil guy that you have to defeat, you're the hero, they're the villain, let's get the bad guys. I feel like you would be more aggressive and less like this, less tragic and dramatic. That's very interesting. Now I'm curious. there's some conflict there in this music. Again, the authority, the imposing side of it is back. Building tension. Yeah, building tension again. So they keep alternating. Back to the beginning, the imposing. Okay. Interesting. Okay, interesting. The song just ended. So apparently there's more phases after this. Apparently there's no transition in between phases. The music just ends. But I was going to say, it's very interesting. They keep alternating between moments of gentleness and almost vulnerability. I want to call this moment here before. This sounds like a vulnerable moment. I don't know whose vulnerability this is. Maybe you as the character has some kind of backstory with this boss that you're fighting, and there's some kind of conflict, and you know, good and evil is not exactly entirely clear here. But anyway, it's interesting how they're alternating between these moments of gentleness and vulnerability and authority and, you know, threat and tension. So this was the first phase. Let's go now to what the video I'm watching here is calling transformation phase. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, definitely more tense than before. Interesting. Okay, it's very short. It's probably for a cutscene, right? For a transformation cutscene, I would imagine. They put an evil, more tense spin on the melody from the first phase. That's very interesting. So it's the same melody, but now the harmony beneath it sounds more evil, which I guess is a great way to portray a transformation, right? Listen to how disturbing this chord here is. So he does, and then something like this. But I'm even inclined to believe this is actually not no chord at all, because it sounds so chaotic that it might actually be just a cluster of notes made specifically to disturb you. You know, clashing notes, notes that don't necessarily form any chord at all. It's just, you know, a cluster of notes, clashing notes, just really to make you uncomfortable. So, okay, let's go to the second phase. Yeah, this is transformation. Now it's second phase. Oh God. Guitars. Wait, what? Why do... Why do I recognize this? Oh! I figured it out! Wait, it's the same melody. Oh, that's why you guys recommended this one to me. It has the same melody from the Raiden Shogun battle one. Wow, but yeah, I could never not recognize this part. I loved it so much on last week's video. This melody is so good. This part. This sounds so aggressive. Okay, so interesting things to know here. First of all, it sounds metal, it sounds so aggressive and hype. Jesus, it sounds so cool. Remember all that talk about vulnerability and gentleness and drama and tragedy? That seems to be gone now. Now it's just aggression and intimidation and tension. And look how interesting this is. Check out the key of the track. Now, just like last week, he changed the key here. Though last week, if you remember, he was slowly raising the key to increase tension little by little. Here, the previous key from first phase was an A minor. Now he changed it to a D minor. And in this case, we can't really say that he raised the key or lowered the key, because the interval between these two keys, and remember, just a refresher, the key is the group of notes that the composer is using, is the group of notes that the composer is allowed to use. If he plays a note that's outside that group, it kind of sounds wrong and out of tune. So when he changes the key, he just replaces the old group of notes that he's using for a new one, and each key, each kind of group of notes has a different characteristic. That's basically what changing the key means. In this case, the relationship between the two keys that he's changing between, it's so distant. They are such distant notes that we don't have anymore that sensation of, either lowering or raising the key. What's cool though is the sensation that we actually get is that the key was not lowered, was not raised, it was actually transformed, because it's so distant from the original key, which is very appropriate for what's going on here, right? Changing key in this way that he did here is a very effective way to symbolize a transformation. He could have raised the key like he did last time to just increase the tension, but transforming the key in this way feels a lot more appropriate here. That's very cool. Very cool. And again, we're back to that imposing bass. What? This rules. Oh god. Oh man. I love the bass on this. Amazing. Oh! Oh! This is interesting. Amazing. Okay. This is another moment of vulnerability. I was not expecting this here. This is amazing. Okay. I just have to stop here because I was not expecting this. Another moment of vulnerability here amidst all this chaos, all this anger, all this tension and aggression. What calls my attention here in this case is that even though this phase is a lot more aggressive, intense, and violent, feels kind of violent, they chose to put a solo singer here. This, to me, makes this vulnerable, tragic, emotional part even more intimate than before. Even though the previous part was generally more tragic and more sad, this one, because of the big contrast between the aggressive parts and now this vulnerable part, on top of the solo singer, it makes it so intimate and so genuine, because you know it's a solo singer, it's one single voice, it's one human being. This makes it so personal. It makes it so personal. It feels like it's one person singing. I wonder if this has some kind of meaning in the story, if this one voice is supposed to represent an existing voice in the actual game, whether it's the character that you're playing or this boss. Whatever it is, man, there's some serious backstory to whoever this is representing, because there's so much intimacy, so much sadness and nuance on this. And it's, man, it's crazy that they chose a solo singer here. It feels so individual, you know, special. Just a lonely individual voice, the voice of someone, but who is it? Oh God. Okay. Guitar, such a cool combo, man. The guitar, the electric guitar with the piano in unison, that's such a cool combo. I want to highlight, guys, I was talking at the beginning of the track about the bass on this track, how at the beginning was very imposing and stoic. You just kept holding one single note. Now it's moving a lot and it sounds awesome. So I want to show you some of that. Check out how much it moves now. So much movement. He's taking every opportunity he can to move the bass a little bit. Okay, where were we? Yeah, the solo singer. It's kind of appropriate now that I think about it. It's kind of appropriate to have opera in this, given the name of the track, the Italian name. Yeah, the guitar plus piano combo. Man, I wonder how it feels to play this part. Must be so hype. Again. Imposing bass. Oh, come on, is it over already? Hey, I have another video on Genshin Impact music. It's over here, it's the Raiden Shogun Battle Theme. Feel free to share more Genshin Impact music with me. After all, that's what this channel is all about, sharing the music from the games that we love with each other. So remember, whenever you're ready to spread your wings and go on a music journey again, I'll see you there.